I got into my car and drove off, leaving Molly sitting there. She was probably in a state of confusion and anxiety, her mind racing with questions about what had just happened. I knew it was hard for her to process, but I couldn't stay. The weight of what I now knew pressed heavily on me. However, tonight wasn't about confronting her or making sense of the chaos. It was about taking the first real step toward rebuilding my life, a life where she no longer had a place. As I drove, the cool night air and hum of the engine became a quiet backdrop to my thoughts. I had to find some semblance of peace, a way to move forward from this nightmare. When I arrived at Gabriel's house, the warm, welcoming glow of the porch light immediately gave me a small sense of comfort. The smell of freshly baked lasagna drifted through the air, reminding me of the homey, safe atmosphere Gabriel and Rose always created. They greeted me with genuine smiles, their faces lighting up when they saw me step out of the car, though I could see they noticed the tension in my posture. Gabriel slapped me on the shoulder in his usual jovial manner. "Good to see you, Mason. Come on in, make yourself at home," he said, his voice warm but with an underlying note of concern. Rose stepped forward and extended a hand, her smile soft and kind. She gave me a look that said she understood I wasn't there for casual conversation. "You look like you've had a rough few days," she said, her voice soothing. "Come sit, let's get you fed." Their kindness, so genuine and disarming, almost made me forget for a moment what had just happened. I followed them inside, trying to push thoughts of Molly and the betrayal aside, if only for a little while. Over dinner, I tried to keep the conversation light at first, focusing on work and my interest in joining Gabriel's team. I asked him questions about what it was like to work alongside him and his vision for his team's future. But as the night wore on, I found it harder and harder to keep up the pretense. The emotions swirling inside me were too much to suppress, and Rose, ever perceptive, noticed a shift in my mood. "Stop. If you love your parents, then like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you didn't like the video or subscribe to the channel, it means you don't love them. Continue." She leaned in, her voice gentle but firm. "Mason, you don't have to share anything you're not ready to, but if you want to talk, we're here for you." I paused for a long moment, the weight of my secret suffocating me. I had been holding in for days, weeks even, and tonight it all felt like it was about to break free. With a heavy sigh, I set my fork down, the clink of it against the plate cutting through the otherwise comfortable silence. "It's Molly," I said, the words escaping me like a confession. "She's been unfaithful, not just once, but with multiple people." Gabriel froze mid-bite, his eyes wide in shock. His fork paused in midair as his expression shifted from concern to disbelief. "Mason, I'm so sorry," he said, his voice low. "That's just awful." Rose reached across the table and placed a comforting hand on mine. "I can't imagine how painful this is for you," she said softly, her voice full of empathy. I swallowed hard, trying to keep my composure. "It's worse than that," I continued, my voice trembling. "It's with Brad, my boss, and a few of his friends, including his son. I have proof, but seeing it, knowing it, it's unbearable." Gabriel's face darkened at the mention of Brad's name. "Brad? I can't believe he'd do something so low." Rose leaned forward, her gaze softening even more. "Do you have anyone else you can talk to, Mason? A support system outside of us?" I shook my head, the feeling of isolation growing with each word. "Not really. That's part of why I came here tonight. I needed to tell someone. I needed to tell someone who might understand what I'm going through." Gabriel's voice was firm with resolve. "You have a place on my team, Mason. We'll get everything set up as soon as you're ready." Rose added, "And if you need someone to talk to, whether professionally or just to listen, I can help connect you. I'm here for you." Their support felt like a lifeline, something I hadn't realized I was craving until that moment. It was clear that I wasn't alone in this. As the evening went on, we discussed the logistics of the job transition and how to navigate the fallout from my marriage. The weight of it all still hung heavy, but there was a sense of hope growing within me. I wasn't sure how it would all unfold, but for the first time in a long time, I felt like maybe, just maybe, I could make it through. I felt like there was a way forward. When I returned home, the house was quiet. Molly had already gone to bed, and the silence felt oppressive. I stood in the living room for a moment, taking in the space we had shared, the life we had built together, and wonder how it had all fallen apart so completely. Then I walked to the futon, laid down, and stared at the ceiling. The darkness around me mirrored the heaviness in my heart. Difficult conversations awaited, and I had to steel myself for them. The next day I confronted Molly, holding up the evidence of her betrayal. "And these?" I asked, my voice cold and cutting. "Brad's not the only one, Molly. His son, his friends. People I don't even know. Did they just walk all over you, too? Or did you willingly throw yourself into this mess?" Her face crumpled as tears streamed down her cheeks. I don't know how it got this far," she whispered, her voice full of regret. "It started with Brad, but then it was like I couldn't stop. I felt trapped, ashamed. I didn't know how to face you. Trapped." I repeated, my voice rising in frustration, building inside me. "You weren't forced into this, Molly. You had choices, and every single one of them betrayed me. Betrayed us. You let it spiral out of control, and now you want to play the victim?" She sobbed, her hands clutching her face. "I know I messed up, Mason. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. But I still love you." I slammed my hand on the table, the sharp noise cutting through her sobs. "Don't you dare say you love me," I hissed. "You don't destroy someone you love. You don't humiliate them, ruin their trust, and shatter their life. Love? You threw that word away the moment you chose Brad over me." She fell silent, her tears the only response. After a long, tense pause, I leaned back in my chair, my tone quieter but no less firm. "This is over, Molly. There's no fixing this. I'll file for divorce, and there's nothing left to discuss." Her head hung low. "What do you want me to do?" she asked, her voice barely audible. "You will pack your things and leave before the papers are served," I said. "You'll stay away from me, from my home, and from my life. You wanted Brad and his circus. Congratulations, you're free to join them." Her shoulders shook as my words settled in. "I'll leave tomorrow," she whispered. I stood up, unable to look at her any longer. Good. The sooner, the better. Without another word, I turned and walked out of the room, leaving her alone with the consequences of her actions. Upstairs, I sat on the edge of the bed, staring out the window. The enormity of it all hit me like a wave. My marriage was over, my trust shattered, and the woman I thought I'd spend my life with had become a stranger to me. Yet as the night wore on, I felt something unexpected, a faint glimmer of relief. I had made my decision. I had taken control. The road ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in weeks, I felt a sense of clarity. Tomorrow, I would move forward, without Molly, without Brad, without the weight of their betrayal. It was time to rebuild on my terms. The fallout from my marriage had been a storm of betrayal, heartbreak, and devastation. But as the dust began to settle, I found myself stepping into a new chapter. Molly's life had ended in chaos, dragging Brad and Matt down with her. Their web of deceit had destroyed more than just my marriage. It had cost lives. But standing at her memorial, I realized something profound. Forgiveness and letting go weren't for the other person. They were for me. They were my path to peace. Work at Empire kept me busy, giving me a sense of stability I hadn't felt in months. Gabriel had become a great mentor, guiding me as I navigated my new role. Rose's counseling sessions helped me rediscover parts of myself I thought had been lost forever. I embraced fitness, started martial arts, and even rekindled old hobbies. Slowly but surely, I was finding myself again. When Tracy invited me to happy hour one evening, I hesitated at first. Putting myself out there felt strange after everything that had happened. But I also knew that staying stuck in the past wouldn't lead me to the life I wanted. So I said yes. Later that night at Hitchhikers, I found myself laughing with Trace and the team, enjoying drinks and the simple joy of good company. No tension, no deceit, just light-hearted fun. Tracy and I shared a few moments, more than I expected. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I found myself smiling genuinely. Over the next few weeks, Tracy and I spent more time together. At first, it was casual. Coffee breaks, team lunches, after-work drinks. But there was something about her warmth, her kindness, that drew me in. She didn't pry into my past, though I knew she was aware of it. She simply treated me like Mason, a man she enjoyed getting to know. One evening, after we both stayed late at work, Tracy stopped by my desk. "Want to grab dinner?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with a friendly warmth. I nodded, feeling a flutter of something I hadn't felt in a long time. "Yes, I like that." As we walked out together, I realized I was finally ready to open myself to new possibilities. Life had thrown me curveballs, but here I was, still standing, still moving forward. Tracy wasn't a replacement for Molly or anyone else. She was simply someone who made me feel hopeful again, and for now, that was enough.